Hi, my name is Jackie Lee Price and welcome to Shadowboxruk. Welcome to Shadowboxruk. I have a lovely guest on tonight. Her name is Rachelball. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm really well, thank you.
So how exciting. How exciting. So firstly, I actually found out about you when I was doing some research on another boxer. So firstly, let's talk about, before we talk about your fight that's coming up, let's talk about your prior job as a professional athlete. What did you do before you became a professional boxer?
I was a kickboxer. That's where my kind of fight past has been in, really. So I've done kickboxing. I've got 3 world titles in kickboxing. And then it was kind of, well, what do we do now? I felt that there wasn't really much else to do in the sport. So we toyed with the idea of going into K1, which is low kicks and knees. Had a few white collar fights, and we thought that pro boxing was the way to go, really.
Nice. So first and foremost, why did you decide to get into fighting full stop? You know, you're growing up and then all of a sudden most people playing with dolls. But no, not Rachel.
No, not Rachel. No. Rachel was going to a karate lessons from age 7. So when back in the 90s, my dad used to enjoy watching like Bruce Lee, like Enter the Dragon and stuff like that. And I was like, I want to be like that. So I joined my local karate club. And I think I was a black belt by the time I was 15.
Wow.
And then went into kickboxing. Got 3 world titles and various other titles, and then went into pro boxing.
Brilliant. It's good to hear. So I come from a martial arts background, and then I went into boxing as well. It is that kind of thing where it's either, I'm guessing, especially now, you either go into mixed martial arts or K1, like you say, or it is literally like, oh, I'm going into boxing. Yeah. When was the moment when you were kind of like, right, this is it, let's just go into boxing? Was there a specific moment? Did something happen?
So when I fought in Malta for a white collar boxing fight, Brian Rose was actually over there, and he was watching the show. And we were at an after party, and we were talking about him, about, you know, pro boxing game, and he was saying, you know, you should really go into pro boxing. You know, you should be getting paid to do that. You put on a really good fight. So I think it was really just chatting to him that we decided, yeah, this is what we're going to do.
What was the, you know, you participating in a white collar, was that you trying to sort of decide whether you wanted to go into pro boxing, or was it literally just a thing that, like most people that do white collar, for, I don't know, just as a bit of a challenge?
I think it's part of just a challenge, really, and just adding other bows to, you know, other strings to your bow, as they say. You know, just you know, concentrating on the hands for a while. It does you good. It complements when you keep boxing. So I think that's really why we went into having a few white collars, really.
So talking about sort of the technical side of thing, you know, how difficult or easy was it for you to make that transition? So I'm talking about the stance, I'm talking about, you know, obviously technically wise, but definitely the stance from being square on to being like shoulder forward. It's like,
Yeah, it is very, very different, and it's took a lot of time. You know, and you probably still notice things about when I am fighting that kind of kickboxing stance, and, you know, I am still reminded, you know, turn your shoulder, don't get so square on. So it's something that's kind of ingrained in you, but you know, it's just trying to evolve as a fighter, and I'm constantly trying to do that.
I mean, effectively, you're trying to unlearn something that you've been doing for a long time. So it's not as easy. I can vouch for that. It's not as easy as everybody thinks it is, to be honest, is it?
No, and it is really, really hard. I mean, people think boxing, it's just punching. There's so much more to it. There's the footwork, there's, you know, your momentum, there's your shoulders, the way that they move, and your hips. Everything's all, you know, everything all plays a part in everything. And then you've got your movement, your footwork. So it's very different, and there's always things to be learning and improving on.
Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. So you are fighting Shannon Courtney who is 5-0 on the Matchroom Fightcamp. You must be looking forward to that challenge, surely.
Yeah, definitely. It's a massive platform, a massive opportunity, and it's you know, I've got to make my destiny that I'll win on the night. That's you know, in my hands really to do that now.
You're absolutely correct. I mean, here's the thing. You've been put as the underdog for this fight, okay? And arguably, you're not the underdog. And I'll tell you why. You've fought at a world-class level as a kickboxer. You've also fought Katarina Fernandez, who is a calibre above any fighter that Shannon Courtney has fought. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, is it just a case of people just don't know who you are, so they automatically have assigned you as the underdog, or do they really think you're the underdog?
I think it is to do with the fact that people don't know me. You know, if people genuinely do believe that I'm the underdog based on my boxing skills, then I don't think they've done enough research, and I don't think they've seen me in the ring. So I am getting a lot of, you know, questions about being the underdog, but I am only the underdog because people don't know me, and that's fine, because they'll be in for a hell of a shock when I get in the ring on the 14th. So I can't wait to surprise quite a lot of people.
So I saw your fight against Katarina Fernandez, and I have to say I didn't know who you were, but I was pleasantly surprised. And I also know that for you to have taken that level of opponent, you know, you must be bringing something to the table. I also understand that you've pushed for this fight prior to it all being organised, and you kept pushing and pushing before COVID-19, didn't you? You must be confident that you can take Shannon out.
Yeah, of course. You know, I believe in myself, and I'm confident in my abilities. You know, I think when I did, you know, knowing that I fought against Katarina Fernandez, another very, very tough opponent, that gives me a lot of faith. And that fight was at lightweight as well when I fought Katarina as well. And I know she did, you know, she fueled up straight after the weigh-in. So she probably was maybe 63 kilos. So she's probably half a stone heavier than that. And, you know, so it gives me a lot of faith in myself and my abilities. And I know that I can do it because I've been in there with such a brilliant opponent.
Yeah.
And I know I can get the rounds in, and I didn't go down, and you know, I made it through all the rounds, and it was a very, very close fight as well.
Yeah. To be honest, I think it was literally your lack of experience. Yeah, it was your lack of experience. But that's not a bad reason to lose at all, is it?
No. And at the end of the day, it's all been positive. Yes, I did have a loss, but I've gained a hell of a lot of respect from that fight. And respect isn't something that you can earn by just having easy fights and winning all of them.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I say, okay, apart from the height difference, because you're, 5'9", I'm guessing, I know Shannon, so I'm guessing she's 5'5" at the most. So apart from the height difference, have you seen anything that you can capitalise on?
You know, I think she does leave herself open sometimes, and I'll be looking to capitalise on that. You know, I don't think she's really had a lot of pressure in her fights either. So, you know, we'll have to see whether she can cope with the pressure as well that I look to put on.
So you've been watching, I'm guessing, all of her fights and sort of making an analysis of what you can and cannot do with her.
Yeah. I mean, people are probably watching my last fights and making and analysing and things like that, but I feel like every time I go into the ring, I'm a different fighter anyway, and I've evolved a lot more. So you can watch the videos, but you can only learn so much, and we've all got a plan until we get in the ring, haven't we?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to say until you get hit on the nose.
Well, and that, yeah.
What is lovely is you've got that nice long range. You know, I noticed you using that long range, slightly out of, slightly out of distance. But that was, again, what I think is just a little bit of lack of experience. But you can't expect for somebody that comes in, they're trying to adapt to the sport, like you are and get every piece of the jigsaw puzzle in place straight away. So I
Yeah.
absolutely commend that fight. I commend you for taking it, and I commend your performance in it.
Yeah, I mean that fight in particular, like she hit me with a straight right. I think it might have been the second round, and you can see on the video my knees wobble a bit. And I thought I need to be careful here, so I couldn't, get too close. I had to stay on my toes and move around because that, I had to be safe at the end of the day. I knew she was heavier than me and heavier than what I'm used to fighting at. So I did know that I needed to keep myself safe, or else I was going to be in trouble.
Did she say anything to you after the fight? Did she come on and say, "Listen, you did a good job there," or have you had a chance to have a chat with her?
Yeah. Katarina's a lovely girl, really, really lovely. After the fight, she said, "I really enjoyed that fight." She likes having fights that's a good war rather than just trying to chase someone down or against like a journeywoman. So yeah, she's a lovely girl. She's a really nice girl.
Yeah, I've interviewed her, and she's a genuinely good soul, to be fair. So let's talk about, let's say, a memorable fight. Would you say that's your most memorable fight today? I'm talking about in boxing. Would you say that's your most memorable, or?
I'd say the one against Eftichia Katapuli that happened in Warsaw. That one has got to be my most memorable one, because it was absolute bloodbath. There was blood everywhere. The show had to stop for a while because the doctor had to stitch her up. I needed to be glued up because I had a cut on my head. The ring needed to be wiped down. All of the judges' tables needed to be wiped down. So it was such a memorable fight for me, and I don't think I could really take in how big of a deal that fight was until afterwards, until people were sharing my posts and my photos, and then it went on to win Midlands Fight of the Year. So it was really, really a big fight, and it's probably the most memorable to date, to be honest.
Would you say though that the fight went on slightly too long with regard to my experience? When there's that much sort of blood around, fights get stopped, and especially when it's female competitors, because they're kind of quite nervous. What are your thoughts on how long the fight went on for?
Well, I mean, we were surprised that it didn't get stopped, to be honest, and I think that comes down to the ref. But obviously he judged it that the blood wasn't going in her eyes, and therefore it could go on. I mean, I didn't particularly notice that her eyes were clouded over with blood or anything like that. I mean, I think it was the good call to make, to let it go on, because it was such a brilliant fight. But I could have understood if they did stop the fight, if I'm honest, but I'm glad they didn't.
So talk about your biggest upset then today. What would you say is your biggest upset?
My biggest upset in the fight world?
Yeah.
I mean, people weren't very happy. Some people were saying that Effie should have won. I think some people have said, like, oh, she should have won because it was a close fight. But, I mean, you could see from the damage of her face that, clearly I was the more, better fighter and scoring the cleaner shots and putting the work in. But I wouldn't say that I've particularly upset anybody as of yet. I think that's to come, to be honest. People were quite surprised at how I did against Katarina, and some people said that I should have won. But I've left I've left people to have their own opinions about that fight, really.
Yeah, it's true. And any days in the kickboxing world where you feel like there was just some big upsets, that should have been my night?
To be honest, I had some really good times in kickboxing. I mean, when I went over to New York for my second world title, obviously it was her home show, and the ref came over to us before the fight and said, if your girl looks like she's in trouble, I'm stopping the fight. And my coach was like, no, don't worry about my fighter, she'll be all right. And then I went on to win it. So that was a massive kind of upset for her and for them, really. So I'd say it was probably the biggest upset that I've caused when I was in kickboxing.
Yeah, it's tough though, isn't it? It's one of those things that, you know, all fighters have got hearts of a lion or lioness, and they want to continue. And there's that fine line between a fight just turning on a flick of a switch and having to stop a fight because somebody's going to get seriously damaged. You know what I mean? It's very, very difficult. So in terms of your sort of training, did you know that you were going to have this fight? Was it all scheduled before lockdown and you kind of had to keep it a secret, or did you only get the nod recently?
My coach phoned me up probably a couple of 2 or 3 weeks before it was being announced. But we knew that there was going to be some big fights on the table for us because it had to be domestic fights here in the UK.
Yeah.
So they were saying, you know, be ready, get your weight down, which I have, and I'm in a better position with my weight, better than I ever have been in other fight camps. So I have been keeping ready for whatever was coming up.
I mean, I admire any boxer or fighter that was able to keep ticking over, because let's be fair, when there's no date inside, proper date, sealed, signed, sealed and delivered, it's hard to stay motivated, isn't it? And especially when everyone else is drinking wine and eating cakes.
Yeah. I mean, the first couple of weeks in lockdown, I kind of just had a really easy few weeks. We made a couple of takeaways and stuff like that. But you just get bored of eating rubbish and feeling rubbish. So, you know, I've just stayed on a healthy diet and I've done pretty well with it, really. I've just been enjoying the fact that I can be outside so much. Yeah. You know, been going for loads of runs, loads of walks, and it's just been lovely just to train outside and just really enjoy just being outside and the countryside, and it's been a lovely change, to be honest.
Good. I'll tell you what, one of the best things has been about the COVID-19 period, or the best thing to come out of it, is the fact that there are now going to be more 50-50 fights. So nobody's able to, let's say, sneak out of confrontations. I think that's one of the best things about this situation that we're under. It's like going back to times of old in boxing when you get those big clashes. How does it feel for you now? I mean, in comparison to sort of kickboxing days, world champion days, to the attention that you're getting now, how does that differ?
Oh, you can't compare. You can't compare, really. You know, as soon as the announcement was made, you know, my phone was absolutely blowing up. And I've never had so many interviews in my life. It's been lovely talking to so many different people. You know, I've just not long had a shoot with Matchroom as well, and an interview with them. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But so in that respect, you just can't compare the two. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
It's good because, you know, you being a world-class athlete and not getting that kind of coverage that you deserve. So now all of a sudden you're almost coming into your own, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. And it's nice. It's nice to be recognised in the sport that I've worked so hard for, you know, and it's just great stuff. It's like a dream come true, really.
So are you a full-time athlete, or do you have to work alongside your boxing?
I'm still working full-time.
So you're looking for sponsors?
Yes, please.
Oh, wow.
Yes, please.
Yes, I'm so surprised. I'm always so surprised when people haven't got sponsors. I know the game, don't get me wrong, but I'm just always surprised, and especially at a certain level. So if anybody can help Rachel out, we're begging here. We don't care.
Yeah, any help is greatly appreciated. You know, I've had some sponsors that have been with me from the start, which I really, really appreciate. I've got Blue Chili Design Print as one of my sponsors, been with me from the start, and Boxer Girl, who's on Instagram, they've recently got on board. So yeah, I'm hoping to pick up some more sponsors along the way.
Fingers crossed, my darling, fingers crossed. I mean, it is great to see you getting a chance. I've got a sneaky feeling that you're going to be around for a while. I really do. So what have you got? You've got about a month left, have you?
It'll be 5 weeks on Friday.
Okay. And who have you been sparring? You know, which girls have you been sparring? Can you name anybody, or you're not allowed to name them?
Yeah, I've been sparring Ellis Hopkins.
Oh, okay,
yeah. Who's recently turned pro.
Yeah.
So she's been great sparring for me. And I'm lucky enough I've got some girls up at the gym as well. There's like Kirsty Babington as well that I can spar. So I'm really fortunate that I've got quite a few girls around me, not too far off my way, all different styles that I can go and spar and train with. So I'm really grateful for them.
Ellie's quite tall though as well, isn't she?
Yeah, yeah.
About 5'6".
Yeah.
5'6"?
Yeah.
No, but it's good. It's good that you're getting out there, and it's good that you're finally being able to sort of shine under those lights. But listen, thanks very much for giving us your time.
That's no problem. Thank you.
And listen, I hope you do really well on, is it the 14th?
Yes, the 14th.
But enjoy every minute of it.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
If you like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber of Shadowboxruk UK, we'd love to see you, so please go ahead and subscribe now.